Hello, happy Monday, and welcome to Good Morning KU. I'm Farzin Vousoughian.
And I'm Jackson Long. KU wrapped up its regular season this weekend in a loss at West Virginia. We'll also recap the season's postseason awards earned by the Jayhawks. But first, the highlights from Saturday's game. And for Andrew Wiggins, there were plenty.
And that's what we're going to start off with. There's Andrew Wiggins right there getting ready for a big game. Here he is early on in the first half, just about 4 minutes in, attacks the basket and ties the game up at 9. This is before things got out of control for KU. Here's Devin Williams, has it on the right wing, attacks the basket, kind of similar to Wiggins right there, goes underneath the basket and comes away with a big basket there. There's Aaron Harris, airballs it. Andrew Wiggins, one of the big plays from this weekend, a one-handed jam on the other side right there. KU trying to cut the deficit, but for West Virginia, it's just too much. Andrew Wiggins didn't have a perfect game there. You see that turnover. West Virginia able to get it in right there, up 45-34. Here they are again on the next possession. A three from Aaron Harris, 28 points in this game. West Virginia dominating on all cylinders. Another shot from beyond the arc. West Virginia, no answer from KU, but right here, Wiggins from the right wing gets it right there in the second half with about 6 minutes left. KU trying to cut the deficit down by 25 at one point. Here's Wiggins with a steal, right-handed dunk, trying to do anything and everything to get back in the game. Selden hits the front rim right there, gets it back to Mason, wide open shot, gets a three right there. Deficit now at 5, but it's not enough. KU unable to complete the comeback. Wiggins fouls out in this game, gets 41 points, and there you see it, the West Virginia fans having fun. Kind of a mixed bag right there. Wiggins gets the 41 points, reigning Big 12 Player of the Week. But for KU, he even said after the game, I'd rather score 5 points and help my team win.
Yeah, and you saw kind of the best of both worlds for the Jayhawks, or I guess two foils of a team. You saw a team that got down big early. I think the deficit was 25 at one point.
Yeah.
But a team that also scrapped and battled back and got to within 5 within the closing minutes. And really, with a couple turnovers here and there that they had on the offensive end, if they eliminate those, they would have been in the basketball game for sure.
And I think you just kind of looked at right there. This KU team proved that this was a winnable game, but they only showed that for, just one half, really?
No, and I think from the 10-minute point in the second half on towards, I guess, about 2 minutes remaining, they played great basketball, and they played with lots of energy, and the Jayhawks really got after it. And you saw Wiggins play offensive and defensively, I think his best game of the season, and really solidified how much he's grown this season so far. And I think that was a big component of the game. Let's check out the postseason awards for the Jayhawks here that they have earned, and these came out this weekend. They have Defensive Player of the Year, Joel Embiid. Certainly he had the KU freshman record for blocks.
Yes. Freshman
Player of the Year, Andrew Wiggins. And that was pretty much a clear cut, especially with the closing performance he had on this Saturday. All Big 12 first team, Andrew Wiggins lands on that. Joel Embiid on the second team, Perry Ellis third team, and Wayne Selden and Nadir Tharp on the honorable mention. So that rounded out the whole starting 5 for the Jayhawks.
Yep.
So everyone who started for the Jayhawks the majority of the year received honors.
And I think you've got to give a lot of credit. A lot of it has been made of Wiggins and Embiid, but think about the other guys, too. Guys like Perry Ellis, who's one of the returning players. Yeah, he's a sophomore, but just the way he's kind of led this team, it's like he is a senior on this basketball team. He's really led the way and has really helped out KU in a lot of ways. I think in terms of just basketball IQ, he's got the best one on the team. And then guys like Nadir Tharp. The point guard position is always the most criticized position in basketball, but Nadir Tharp, I feel like, has done a good job. Tyshawn Taylor and Elijah Johnson the past couple of years, they've been heavily criticized for the way they handled the point guard position at KU, but I think we're kind of seeing something different with Nadir Tharp as a junior, especially filling in for Elijah Johnson. And we definitely saw a good season from him, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think they kind of fit the similar mold of a point guard who does receive all the criticism, but then also plays very well. And I think this team runs through Nadir Tharp, and when they play their best basketball, it's Nadir Tharp leading the charge. And when he's shooting well, an extra plus on top of that, But when he plays well, this team can beat anyone, and I think that Bill Self knows that, and so he's going to work Nadir Tharp into playing his best basketball come late March and hopefully early April.
Yeah, and we do have some bad news now. We don't know the full extent of this, but Joel Embiid did miss the last 2 games of the regular season. Fran Francilla on Twitter said he tweeted out that Embiid was sent to California to see a back specialist, and the extent of that right now is unknown, but could be trouble for KU. Tarek Black has been inconsistent. He's had some really good games. Had a tremendous game on senior night when he went 9 of 9, 19 points, which is a season high. But we don't know which Tarek Black will show up each game, especially if Joel Embiid is out for the conference tournament and the NCAA tournaments. I mean, that's a big concern for
Yeah,
KU.
I think the biggest thing with Embiid being out is, and we saw it against West Virginia, is there's no one to protect the rim. So if West Virginia can get to the basket like they did, they can score a lot of points. And KU hasn't been great defensively this year by any means, but they're much better on the floor when Joel Embiid is there to protect the rim for them.
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes, and we'll try to keep you up to date later this week on Good Morning KU. We're going to go ahead and take a break. Bentley and Stephanie will come back, and we will have the news for you right here on Good Morning KU. Keep it locked.
Hi, I'm Bentley Leonard.
And I'm Stephanie Bickle. Here's your Good Morning KU Monday news update. People are still looking, but so far there's no trace of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 that went missing over the weekend. None of the potential clues have panned out as dozens of planes and ships from 8 nations comb the South China Sea. According to Fox News, oil slicks spotted off the coast of Vietnam do not belong to the aircraft. Authorities are also investigating on how 2 people traveling on stolen passports boarded the plane.
A 6.9 magnitude earthquake was recorded off the coast of California yesterday morning. Aftershocks rocked California and parts of Oregon. However, there is no danger of a tsunami and no injuries have been reported.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration recently presented the biggest change to the nutrition facts label since 1993. The proposal would change the calorie text, make it larger, and in bold. The new label would also update the serving size. While this change might be costly, the Obama administration supports the change and hopes to improve health awareness.
A suicide bomber driving a bus in southern Iraq killed 45 and wounded 157. According to the Irish Independent, the suicide bomber detonated the bus in a street near a checkpoint complex in Hilla. No one has claimed responsibility, but the depot chairman of the Hilla Provincial Council accused al-Qaeda for being behind the attack. The bomb destroyed the checkpoint complex and caught at least 50 cars on fire.
The Student Senate Elections Commission heard arguments from the Jayhawkers Coalition on Friday that their opponent, Grow KU, violated early campaigning laws. Jayhawkers argued that Grow KU rolled out their official website before necessary paperwork had been filed on February 27th, which constituted early campaigning. They also alleged that the coalition used images of their logo with their candidates' names and tweeted students' endorsements too, soon as well. Grow KU argued that the website was posted directly following the caucus, which nominated their candidates and was cleared of any violations by the commission Friday evening.
The regular season is officially over for men's basketball team, and the Jayhawks will receive a bye for the first round of Big XII tournament. On Thursday, KU will take on the winner of Wednesday's game between Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. Tip-off for Thursday's game will be 2 p.m.
Speaking of the basketball team, the recruiting class has attracted a lot of attention as fans' merchandise have come off the shelves for fans to buy. Our own Farzin Vousoughian has more.
The KU men's basketball team drew more interest than before, and there was a strong indication of that when more than 8,000 fans were turned away at late night in the fog.
The buzz around late night certainly was a foreshadowing of the interest. It has been a little bit different because Andrew was acclaimed as the #1 recruit, so that always brings with it a little extra buzz.
And with that extra buzz, stores appear to be selling more KU merchandise than before.
Between Wiggins and Embiid, there's been a lot of hype. We constantly are getting new things in. We're getting shipment of new items every single day, Monday through Friday.
I got the cream shorts, got also the shirt with the stripes. So definitely a lot more merchandise bought this year than any other year.
Over the past 3 years, KU Athletics has scored at least $2 million each season off merchandise after the conclusion of basketball season. They split that total with the university. Farzin Vousoughian, Kansan Media.
Thanks, Farzin. That will wrap it up for today's news update. For Stephanie, I'm Bentley. After a short break, we'll be back with Farzin and Jackson.
Welcome back into Good Morning KU. Jackson Long, Farzin Vousoughian. The Big 12 tournament, like we said earlier, this weekend at the Sprint Center in Kansas City. I guess some of the new rules, they're going to be selling alcohol at the event for the first time since 2005. So if you're of age and of the fans, that'll be good for you. Power and Light, of course, right across the street. It's a great venue. I think
Yes.
Kansas City is a great, if you combine that with the college basketball experience, Kansas City really does the Big 12 tournament pretty well, and it's nice to have it close, especially if you're a Jayhawks fan. So we'll get into a couple of logistics. Kansas with a first-round bye, and they will play the winner of Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. So it appears maybe Oklahoma State, but of course Texas Tech got them earlier in the season when Marcus Smart pushed a fan in that game. So Farzin, we'll start talking to you a couple things. Joel Embiid been out the last 2 games. Will he get to play, and what's the impact if he doesn't play in a couple games in this tournament?
I think we're going to find out later today in Bill Self's press conference, which is going to be early in the afternoon. So we'll get the answer on that. But if he does not play, then Tarek Black is going to fill in for that role, and that means more minutes for Jamari Traylor as well. How are those two going to combine? They played well coming off the bench together with Tarek Black starting and Traylor coming off the bench. But Tarek Black's got to be consistent. If he plays the way he did on senior night against Texas Tech, then this KU team, it's almost going to be unnoticed that Joel Embiid is not out there. So for KU to be able to do that, to be able to be successful in the tournament this week, they've got to be able to get consistency from Tarek Black.
The big man, of course, kind of driving the KU team. All the attention really goes to Wiggins and Embiid with them out, but between Tarek Black, Jamari Traylor, Perry Ellis, certainly a formidable front court for the Jayhawks. KU loses 2 out of 3 to finish the season. Oklahoma State and West Virginia this weekend. Are you worried about the momentum going through? How big is momentum going into the NCAA tournament and losing 2 out of 3?
Well, if KU lost 2 out of 3 earlier in the season, I don't think it would have been a big issue, but KU lost 2 out of 3 late in the season, and those were big issues that KU had. I mean, they were trailing early, the way they were shooting and just performing in those games, not what you want to see late in the season. So I think that does build some concern. So you've got to wonder, what is KU going to do to be able to adjust real quickly when you get ready for a game on Thursday against possibly Oklahoma State or Texas Tech? I think Bill Self's got to figure that out immediately. It's not an issue you want to have late in the season. It's different if you lose a really close game, but to lose to West Virginia and only play 10 good minutes of basketball, that's concerning, and I think that's what KU fans are curious about right there. But if anyone can turn this team around in a short amount of time, it's Bill Self. So I think he's capable of it, and I think we're going to see a much more mature and better and more prepared Kansas basketball team this week.
Certainly Bill Self, one of the top coaches in the nation, and I think we're seeing the blossoming of one of the best programs, a dynasty, especially with the 10 straight conference titles. KU seeding heading into the tournament, what do they need to do to get it? Number one, you got to think they win the tournament, but if they fall in the first or second round, where do they end up?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting right there. They were the number 8 seed before falling to West Virginia. We'll see the top 25 polls later this week, or later today, I should say. But it's going to be hard to get that number 1 seed. Obviously, winning it would be beneficial in order to get that number 1 seed. But I still think even then, there are other teams that are probably more worthy of it at this point. Losing 2 out of the 3 in the regular season to finish off, that's definitely not going to help your case. So I think if anything, KU will probably get a number 3 seed. Depending on how generous the voters are, the KU might get a number 2 seed, and it's probably going to be in the St. Louis region. I don't think there's any question, regardless of what their schedule is like. Wichita State's definitely getting the number 1 seed in the St. Louis region, which is actually where they were recently for the MVC tournament. But KU right there, I think they've got a chance to be in the 3 or 2 range to get a seed right there. Most likely in St. Louis, possibly Indianapolis, I think that's the other location.
So a 1 through 3 line are the possibilities, probably somewhere closer to the 2 and 3 for the Jayhawks. Last question. You got to think KU over someone. I mean, if you think differently, then please tell me. But KU over who in the Big 12 final?
I think KU is going to capture the Big 12 championship, and I think it's going to be against Texas. I'm sure you remember for the longest time it was KU and Texas in the Big 12 championship for, I think, 3 consecutive years. I think it's going to be those two teams right there. Texas has played KU very closely this year. I actually ended up taking KU out at one point earlier this year. So I think it's going to be those 2 teams in the championship. But you've got to remember, this is Allen Fieldhouse East. So KU finds a way always to come away with those big wins, especially in the Sprint Center when they've got that strong contingency of KU fans. So I'm going to pick KU over Texas.
A little bit of a home field advantage being, I guess, in Kansas City in the Sprint Center for the Jayhawks. Yeah. That's it for us on Good Morning KU. Farzin Vousoughian, Jackson Long. Always a pleasure. We'll be not back next week with spring break, so tricked you there. But we'll be back the following week with Good Morning KU. Thanks.